Get it.
Hey everybody, PincheAls here, and we are here with the fam. This is pretty much Instagram G's Dub, and she brought the whole family along. Introduce you guys here.
David, Gloria, Cameron.
Oh, this is...
That's our photographer. These are pretty much the people that are going to be working on this with me. This is pretty much one bad Beetle. This is a big turbo 1.8T Beetle, or new Beetle, that we're going to be working on, and we're going to be swapping it out with the Clutch Masters clutch. This is a fully sponsored clutch that we're going to be doing, so we're going to give a full shout out to Clutch Masters for doing an awesome job to giving us a clutch to do the work on this car. So we're going to show you guys how to do a clutch on one of these cars, because these cars are not easy to work on, especially because even though they're identical to a Mark IV, they have very, very, very tight spaces. So it's going to be fun, very interesting on how to do this, and I'm glad that they gave us the opportunity to do it today. So first things first, jack the car off the ground, just as always. However, it's the same as a Mark IV, so you guys should be able to do that part. But now we actually got to do the tear down. So to start off, you got to take the battery out and then take off all the piping here. This is not going to be the same piping as your Mark IV, because this is a big turbo, so it's going to be different. Yeah. So let's get to work. So what we're going to need to do, those are going to be 11s.
Yeah, some of them are
11s and 10s, yeah.
And take the bumper off too, so that way we don't tear it. Look at this nice fancy brake from leaning on the bumper.
Yeah. We're also going to have to remove the battery tray, which uses 1, 2, 3, technically 4 10mm, but it's missing one. It's an old car, so you gotta, you gotta assume everything's going to be almost there. Intercooler piping is going to have to be removed.
Where's the socket? Right there.
We got the intake that's going to have to be removed as well. This is a 6-speed, isn't it?
Yes.
Does this come with factory with the 6-speed?
Turbo S,
okay.
2003, yep.
Awesome. So 2003 Turbo S model with a 6-speed. It's an O2M. M, yes. Yeah. Man. One of the most expensive transmissions to own.
And rarest to find.
Yeah, if you want to,
Yeah, no, definitely.
So these guys here are finishing in the intercooler piping right now. It's a hassle. You can tell.
Mom,
Easier if you hit this in.
where's your rag at?
And grab it. There you go. Yeah. If you hit it in, it makes it looser, so it pops right out.
Yeah, they're bad. Don't even want to release by themselves sometimes.
So once you guys do that, make sure you guys remove the, or before you get the car off the ground, break loose your axle nuts. Once those are broken loose, this will give you the opportunity to actually take the rest of it off. We're taking the bumper off just because if you lean on it too much, it'll actually break the tabs, like right here. So pretty much they're just finishing the cleanup on top of the engine. When you remove the tray, make sure you remove all the other bolts that pretty much hold it in place, and try to keep all your stuff out of the way so we can get to the next part, because we're gonna have to remove the shift linkage, and then after the shift linkage is removed, you need to take out unbolt the power steering line, and then with the jack underneath the car, you're gonna have to remove this transmission mount. And to get to that, once that's done, don't forget you get to remove your axles. Now their axles have triple square and Allen bolts. so it's not going to be standardized. So we're on this side, on the driver's passenger side, we have to use an 8mm axle, Allen, to remove the axles on this side. So the trick is, make sure you guys have studs or lug nuts on here, and then use a screwdriver here to hold this so it keeps the axle from spinning. Once that's done, that kind of locks it in place, and then you can break loose the 6 bolts on here. Once the 6 are removed, then just take off the nut here and then remove the ball joint with 313s right here, and that will let you pop the axle out completely, and that will allow the transmission to drop. We will need to remove the dog bone as well, which uses a 16 and a 13 for that removal as well. Anything that's pretty much in the way, you're going to have to remove, okay guys? So now that we got both axles out, well, one of them was already out prior to it showing up.
Here's your 16.
Thank you. We're going to be removing the
now I need that 18.
The dog bone here, which is 16, 16, and then a 13 and a 13 right here. This can be done while the engine is actually still in the car, so it's not a big deal.
18.
So for you need a 16 triple square millimeter security bit one right here for the oil pan on this. The transmission drain. Make sure you drain the tranny fluid. It just helps out to make it lighter. For the fluid itself, you guys got to use, where she went and did the right thing and got some red line, and MT90 is very, very good gear oil that you want to use. We can't even get that out here, so I'm impressed that she was able to get that. So that's really, really good tranny fluid. So now that that's already coming out,
No, he hit the bottom of my transmission too.
remember to take off the shift linkage, and the shift linkage right over here is 3 13mm bolts. You'll see right here the 3 little, you see the rubber bushings right here? There's 3 of those in total. 1 that goes sideways and 2 that go flat. Those have to be removed in order for the transmission to drop. Make sure that the power steering line is unbolted just like that. And see what else is in the way. Obviously the battery tray and the intake and your intercooler piping all have to be removed. Before the transmission is dropped, you're going to want to pull this slave cylinder right here. This has to be pulled. The downside of pulling this, though, it is going to leak brake fluid. So make sure you guys try to cap that as best you can. If not, just have a drain pan underneath to catch the fluid as often as you can. And I think that's pretty much it for the overall before you drop this. Once the brake transmission fluid is drained, you're going to need to get a jack underneath the transmission and a jack underneath the motor. So you're going to need 2 jacks, and then you're going to need to remove the 18mm here and then the 2 16mm that hold the motor mount in place on the 13 that sits over here on the side, which I don't know why you use it. It's useless. Trying to think of what else that we need to worry about. Remove the axles, axle nuts. Those are pretty simple. I showed you guys how to do that.
Are we going to take these adapters off too? The
Uh,
axle bolt too?
Oh,
No.
The flanges?
oh yeah, we're going to need to remove the axle cups.
Cups, thank you.
Yes, there's axle cups. And I'll show you guys a cool little trick on how to remove them. You guys can see my little bolt set up here for the axle cup. So you're going to need a 6mm Allen wrench, a really long flathead screwdriver or a Phillips, doesn't really matter. Put 2 bolts on, and you're going to lock it by using the power steering rack with the screwdriver on there. And this will allow you to break it loose, and then when you guys need to put it back on, it'll give you the ability to keep it locked and the ability to push it down all at the same time while you bolt in the actual screw back into place. It makes life a lot easier. I kid you not, I don't know how many times I've said the F word doing this by myself. This was the easiest way I figured out how to do it. And this works with 5 and 6 speed transmissions. Okay, the 5-speeds are, the bolts are a lot shorter though. They're about half the size. So just a quick update on that as well. So once both cups are unbolted, you're gonna take the little screw out and then just pull. You pull these suckers just straight out. There's nothing you need to worry about. And how you were asking me about a seal, that's the seal, that metal piece. That's why they shouldn't leak at all.
This right here?
It's all metal. There's no actual gasket in here. There is an O-ring on the actual transmission, but very, very, very rare that they go bad. If they go bad, it's because the bearing on the inside of the transmission has failed. And the way you can tell if the bearing has failed, if this is like all loosey-goosey, like you can just wiggle it with your hand. But no, it works really well. Okay. So yours should be fine. A lot of people freak out on those because that's a lot of the big problems. When people don't know how to drive stick and they just dump the clutch all the time, they'll break a bearing. So, but yeah, yours is good. So just leave it on the cardboard over there and be away from us. We don't want to put them on the floor, so.
Yeah, because I don't want to get dirty.
Exactly. So, drain your fluid, take the axle cups off. I can guarantee you taking them off just makes life a lot easier dropping the transmission. I've done enough of these where I can tell you, just do it. I don't care what you guys say, just do it. I know it's extra work, but taking off and putting back the transmission back on makes your life a lot easier doing this. It won't hurt if you clean the inside with the rag. Don't clean the inside of the O-ring, but the inside of the top of the O-ring. Clean that off. That helps you clean any debris if you ever crimp some in.
See, this rubber right here.
Yeah, that seal, you shouldn't have to worry about that. I've never seen one replaced. I own a lot of them. Only time I see one of those actually go bad on you is because people take them off incorrectly or blow the bearing.
Oh, okay.
You know, when the bearing's bad, then because it's going like this, and then it's making the rubber wear out, and that's how it leaks. But it's very, very, very rare. And the reason why we have to drain the fluid, because if we drop the transmission and put it on its side, it's going to leak out of these holes, so we got to do that. That's pretty much it. So next thing is get 2 jacks and a piece of wood. You want to put a wood on the oil pan. It won't matter on this one because this is solid cast aluminum, so you can put a jack straight on it or put a piece of wood. It's up to you guys. But the reason why we need to put a piece of wood on the engine, because we don't want the engine to drop while we're actually dropping the transmission. So next step, okay guys, since this is a 6-speed, you have a couple extra bolts than the normal 5-speed. Obviously we're going to need to take these 2 off, but this bracket has to come off because if not, it's going to hit the pretty much the main beam here. So you take these 2 off, and then these will be next. You got 1 and 2, and those are 16 millimeters. And you guys don't have any more, right? It's only those 2?
Yeah.
Okay. So
no, I think there's 3 on
there's
that
a third one, isn't it?
There's one back here.
It's like hidden.
Right there.
There it is. Yep.
Right there.
Number 3.
Yeah.
So 3 16s. One, you're going to need a deep socket 16 for this one, and the rest of them can be shallow. 2 18s. If you're lucky, you can probably get it without taking this off. We'll try it out right now and show you guys. But that's it for right now. Okay. So now that you have 1, 2, 3 bolts off, the 2 on top, the 3 on the bottom were 16s, the 2 on top were 18s. You're going to drop pretty much your transmission a little bit, and then now we're going to start removing all the bolts around the transmission. There's 16 and 18 millimeters. You should already remove 2 by just removing just the starter right over here. There's just 2 right there. You should have another one right behind this line, one right over here.
Fun one is underneath that water out there.
Your mailman waved at you.
Yeah, he's cool. And then work your way around the transmission so you get all the bolts off the transmission to the block. Okay? To the block. Don't remove anything that doesn't go not to the block, because then it's not needed. Alright, so get to work on that. Now that we're done talking about booty cracks, we're actually going to start doing the removal. So now, what you want to do first is lower the transmission slightly and then lower the engine slightly. Kind of like a shimmy left and right, teeter-totter almost. That one, yeah. That one's a little tougher.
It's going.
And where it stops going down, that's where you're going to put that, yep. And then now you're going to lower the engine a little bit more.
Ding,
A
ding.
little bit more. Keep going down. A little bit more. You can still go down a bit.
I know. But this jack likes to go a little bit faster.
Yeah, that one does. Yeah, I agree.
Honestly, though, is it on there? This one?
Yeah. No, I lowered the engine.
Yeah, you're lowering the engine just fine.
Nope.
All right, now.
The jack is off of it.
Okay, now lower the transmission. Because the goal is to pass pretty much this metal frame.
What's the subframe?
Well, no, the rail. Because we're going to pull the transmission away from the car because it hits the rail.
Okay.
And that's the goal, is to go further down than that.
Okay.
We got about another half an inch to go.
Okay, we're off.
Okay.
So now the
We're fine. Okay, so Alyssa is going to be our film photographer. It's still recording, so the next thing is now to wiggle this guy.
How can you tell if it's actually getting the angle?
Well, you'll see right here.
No, the camera, she's asking.
Oh no, that has a really wide angle, so you can film pretty far away.
You got the whole tranny in your hands there.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, there we go.
Cameron, make sure those power steering lines are out of the way. There you go.
Grab that, pull up.
Pull that up.
Do you
So-
want to go down with the jack, Annie?
Go down a little bit with the jack.
There it is. It's down. It's in your hands.
Not really, I'm not even
It's
holding.
actually off the jack. So if you can lift it. Oh, hold on. Board fell. Board fell. Can you lift up? Lift up and let me put the board back in. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
You're good.
So let's see here.
You want the engine to come down a little bit? Maybe it'll slide out a little
No,
bit.
it's not the engine that's the issue now.
Hands out of the way.
We have to move it away from the engine, but when I pick it up, slide the trans more to this right.
To your feet?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
We need more because the transmission has to slide further out.
Yeah. Right there?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I gotta put the board back in so when you're ready to lift. Okay, hold on. Right there. Go ahead. You put it down.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh yeah, this is heavy.
Yeah. Do you want me to lower it some more? Because usually
Hold
it
on.
just kind of pops out.
I know, hold on. No, because we're already out on
Yeah.
the... So now what's bugging, or what's actually in the way, is the subframe.
Yeah, that's why I usually pull it forward this way. Kind of swing the ass end a little this way to get it away from that subframe.
So which way, you were
Towards
saying?
me a little bit and then down. You know what I mean? Like we usually kind of pull. It's hard to explain. Like you gotta pull it in. There you go. Damn. Do you want me to lift the transmission or the jack? Oh, you're off the jack completely. Oh, the line right here is getting caught. There we go.
You found something in the way?
I got
Okay.
the line. I moved it. That's just the AC line. It's cool. That's not even. Oh shit! There goes the board.
Okay, hold on, let me check something really quick. In a free drive here?
Yeah.
It's on.
So,
And you got to ride in the Audi.
and I drove you in the Audi. So, on the pressure plate here, there's 13mm bolts all around. We're trying to figure out where these metal shavings are coming from because there's a lot of them. If you actually see inside here, there's a lot of shavings in here, but there's no actual discrete location where it's coming from. This right here on the edge, right here on the outer edge, this is all from us trying to remove the actual transmission. But there's nothing here from showing us an actual clean shave spot area. So we're concerned that it might be the flywheel face that's getting all these shavings from. The possibility a rock might have gotten inside and started shaving the transmission flywheel. So we're going to get to that. So for this setup here from Clutch Masters, they use 13mm bolts. Take those off. Make sure you lock the crank side with the 19mm multi-point. I'll show you guys that in a minute.
Yeah, where's it at?
To lock that so you guys can actually spin break loose the transmission with the flywheel. You're not supposed to move around like that.
No.
And this kit was from Clutch Masters, right?
Yes, this is the 350.
And stop the recording. Sorry, stop the recording. Alright, so the video that we are missing is just to remove the flywheel bolts. You're going to need a 19mm socket and a long breaker bar. About 2 feet is usually what I recommend, or 24 inches. You're going to put that socket on the crank side, where the bolt is at on the crank. You're going to use the ground as your resistance, and then you're going to go on the flywheel to break loose your bolts. Once you get the bolts off, get new bolts. Those bolts are one-time use. They're called torque to yield because they stretch. Get new bolts. You're going to need 6 of them in total. And then put the flywheel back on, bolt on all, tighten all the flywheel bolts. Use a torque wrench and torque everything down to 45 foot-pounds, and then a 90-degree turn. That is it. That's the part of the footage that got damaged. Once you do that, proceed with the rest of the DIY. Thanks for watching, everybody, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. So now that we got the back shield on, we actually just cut a little slit in it and slid it back on. The transmission is now ready to go on. So, oh no, I'm sorry, not the transmission. The flywheel and the pressure, no, clutch and the pressure plate have to go on next, then the transmission. I know, I'm just so out of it right now. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts for this, and these go down at 20 foot-pounds, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the thing you need to do first is use your clutch alignment tool. And then your clutch. Let's see here.
Flywheel side.
Which one is it?
Flywheel side is, yeah.
It's this, yeah. So, really quick thing. The deepest portion here is what goes into the flywheel. The shallow side is actually what goes on the pressure plate side. Pop that sucker in. And you want to make sure everything lines up as good as it can. And this is a 6-puck. And then there's the pressure plate. Now this pressure plate only goes on one way as well, so we have to find the little holes that
The keys go.
you'll notice there's holes here that line everything up. So if yours don't line up,
Sorry.
thanks, you got that in my face.
6 bolts for that pressure plate, right?
Mm-hmm. I can't believe I got this on the first try, did I? Watch your arm. No. Well, you guys get the picture. Line it up, and then we'll show you what to do next. Alright, so now that we got the pressure plate, using the alignment tool, one that worked better than, I have this one that I used from an old Bug, and this one kept the alignment much more in there. When you put the pressure plate on, we had a little bit of problems getting the pressure plate on because of the powder coating. Was a little thick on here, so we had to just give it a little bit of tapping with a hammer. Got it all the way on. There's 6 bolts. All 6 have to be torqued down to 20 foot-pounds in a star pattern. We always recommend that just because you never know what side will go down first, and you end up having problems. Once you do that, pull this out of the way, and the transmission is now ready to install. Best way to do this, and I think the easiest way to do this, is to have a person on top and a person underneath with a jack, and then pumping the transmission up, and then once you get it to a point, because you can't use it to install it, then you can actually push it up and in. We're going to show you how to do it, but we're just explaining it right now just so you guys know.
We're just putting on the jack for right now, right? Because I gotta find a flathead.
For what?
The thing.
Oh yeah, but you're going to put it on the jack. That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay, ready?
1,
2,
2.
3, go. Okay. Give yourself a rest. Okay. She's recording. Oh, hold on. Hold on.
Oh yeah, that's got to go down.
What did she do?
The music has to go down. Them copyright laws, yo.
Okay, can you hear it anymore? No.
Nah, it's gone.
Alright. Whew. Okay, so go ahead.
You can edit this. It's okay.
Are you on?
Yes, I've been on.
Oh, she's on.
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep. Are we going to get it more underneath, or what are we going to do?
Yeah, try to get it, I mean, as best we can.
Yeah, just lift it just a hair.
1, 2.
Right there. Nope. You're
No?
off a little. Are you
I'm
all
holding
right
it
like
now.
that?
Yeah, try to jack it up.
Okay. Well, where's the screwdriver? Flathead.
You guys gotta come prepared, man.
Where's the flathead?
The toolbox. On the ground.
Right there.
Nice rotors,
That
Mom.
way works for it.
Why is it not?
Come in.
There we go.
There it is.
And that jack is jacked up.
Okay, here we go.
I'm holding it. You're watching this, filming this, right?
I'm filming it.
Alright. Uh-oh.
Ooh, it's swinging off.
Get it on a little bit here. I'm going to pull the jack out just a touch so you're more on it.
Okay, I'm holding it.
Lift it up real quick.
Just a hair. No, not that much. Okay, well, do you need the board?
No.
Okay, just leave it like that.
Okay.
Hold on.
The
I
board
don't
was
think
just for
this is
safety
tightened
purposes.
because you're going back down. It is. Okay. Let me know when you get up high enough to be able to kind of...
Just swing it that way.
Looks like we're good now.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it there.
Yep.
Hold on.
Hold on.
There it is, right
There
there.
you go.
So what I'm gonna do is go underneath it and then swing it around, right? Alright. Just trying to follow your guys' instructions. Alright, you wanna go on the other side?
Okay, it's like barely
I
hanging
know,
on.
I see it.
Okay.
Move it, Mom, don't move it.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's cornered in there though, which is a good thing.
Yeah, we're good right now. Okay. One, two. Hold on, no.
Where do you want me to put the jack?
You're gonna put it, pretty much I'm gonna twist it around,
Uh-huh.
and you're gonna put it underneath it.
Okay.
Hold on.
It's just gonna, remember it's just gonna be above that suffering.
Yeah. 1, 2. Oh.
Okay, I got you.
Alright, hold on.
I got you. Are we above the subframe?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just need to twist it.
Oh,
There you go. Oh, the hoses, Mom.
I got it. I got it. I got it.
Come
But
on.
it isn't on the clutch because I could see it through here.
Get the jack up the jack a little bit.
Yeah.
Right there. That went in pretty easy now.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real.
These little hoses right here are the ones that are going to be the real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's see here.
So where are we hitting? We're on top of the flywheel here, so it has to go up a little higher.
Yeah, we have to wiggle it now
Are
in.
these are your power steering lines out?
Yeah,
there?
everything's out of the way here. Same back here. The metal plate's still lined up.
Yeah, actually it stayed well.
You can see the clutch through here, though.
Wait. Oh no, we
What?
did.
No, the throttle bearing's inside already.
Yes. The new
I
one.
made sure of that, yeah.
I'm like, wait.
Remember I did that yesterday.
Yeah.
That was my yesterday thing. Alright, so
You've got to come forward here. You're a little.
I know we're about an inch away.
Yeah. But
So-
this side's about 2 inches over here. You've got
Yeah.
that big gap over here. There you go.
You're gonna need to wiggle it for me up there. Oh, hold on. I can really see an issue. Hold on.
Okay.
The plate
I know,
fell off.
It moved.
Yeah, it fell off on the other side. Over here.
What do you mean it fell off?
There it is. There, now it's on there. Let me see up here. Let me see what I need to do. What's that?
If you want to guide it, I can push it with my feet.
I'm just wondering if it's not in the spline.
What do you mean?
It's not going into the spline yet. Alright. So now, you guys saw this. So what we ended up doing was putting the transmission on its side, jacking it up, and then trying to like angle it in towards the flywheel. Once we actually had it high enough, I went underneath, pushed it up, and then clocked it back, and then pushed it in place. That's how you do a 6-speed trans. A 5-speed trans, you don't need to do that. A 6-speed transmission, that's the only way you can do it. So once all the holes line up by themselves, start bolting everything on by hand before you do anything else. And then it will show you how to line up the transmission to the actual motor mount next, because that will be the next difficult piece. Alright, so now that we got most of the bolts around the transmission going and we got the dog bone started, we're going to do the actual transmission mount here. Remember, it's your 3/16s that you guys took off. 1, 2, and number 3. There's 2 long ones and 1 short one. This might have been the dog bone one.
Don't forget this one right here is one of those with the pico. This one right here. Because it has the power steering that goes between.
Oh yeah, see?
The one on the front.
See.
She taught you.
She taught me.
Because I've done this a couple of times.
Yeah, there you go.
And then the nut is right there for the top part.
Wait,
This is the dog bone one. See how it's nice and shaved and shiny?
right, because you washed it?
No, because...
Oh no, that's from when she dropped the motor.
No.
When it fell.
No.
No, this happens when because you're low.
Yeah. That's from a brick hitting it.
See?
What lowness?
That's scraping, yo. So make sure you guys, yeah, basically scraping here.
Basic.
Before we do anything else, where's that power steering line?
Right there.
Okay, good.
You gotta look for the brick.
Okay,
It's down there at
it's
the
right there,
bottom.
yeah. So we're just making sure that we can put it back.
Remember, it's zip tied together too.
Oh, yeah.
Want some
Okay.
pliers?
In just a moment. So get those 3 tightened down. And then, they're in my top drawer, I think. You guys put them on top. And then the next thing is you guys are going to need to jack the engine back up. And then put down the 2 18s that go right here. Which are these 2 guys right here. To tighten those down. But you have to make sure the engine's all the way up and line back up. To line this guy up, you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. And you use the little hole here to line the mount together. We'll show you guys in a minute.